So I did a piece on chaos in love uh, a few weeks back, talking all about relationships and how they fit in with shamanism and how they fit in with chaos and how we need the whole of ourselves available if we're living creatively. In other words, if we're living close to that chaos, close to the great mystery within us. But I didn't really say much about falling in love itself. Um, I talked about how we believe in love. Yeah? And I talked about how Louis Momodrona was told by his old Navajo teacher, in many ways, you've developed wisdom, but there's this one way you may always remain stupid. You believe in love. You've watched too much Hollywood. So that's kind of my starting point, is because it does happen. You do fall in love, but it's a matter of whether you believe in it or not. In other words, if you believe that that is the way to happiness, to basically to marry the object of your love. That's what believing it is. The old Navajo wasn't saying that love doesn't exist, Hollywood style. He's saying it's the kind of believing in it. Yeah. So if we don't believe in it, what do we do with it? Well, the way I see it is that falling in love is an initiation. It's an initiation into the other world. It's an initiation into the daemon, into beauty. There's the well-known story of Dante and Beatrice. Dante, who wrote the Divine Comedy, like 14th century, something like that, in Italy. And he fell in love with this young girl called Beatrice. I mean, he's an Italian. They do, don't they? It's for Italians to fall in love, not for us British. Anyway, and what he did is he never made contact with her. He knew that would be fatal. He cherished this feeling, and no doubt he used it in his writing because it makes you whole. Yeah? It gives you, if you're a man, that falling in love. I can't speak for women, what falling in love's like for you, but you can maybe draw something out of what I'm saying. I'm sure you can, because falling in love is an initiation into a god or a goddess. Yeah? For a straight man, it's an initiation into a goddess. And it's catalyzed. It's catalyzed by a woman that does it for you, a woman that gives you that spark. And if it happens to you when you're young, well, then you'll believe it's an attribute of that woman, and you'll want to possess her. You'll want to marry her. And believing in love means that that is the right thing to do. You've been possessed by this archetype. You've then attributed it to a woman. And you think you will continue to experience that archetype by possessing that woman. Well, that's a form of madness. People who've fallen in love are mad. They need help. They don't need encouragement in their madness, which is believing that this powerful initiation has something to do with another person. It's catalyzed by the other person. And it's an initiation into something deeper. It's an initiation into the spirit. It's an initiation into your soul. So that's what it really is. And you need it. First happened to me. I think it's only once really happened to me when I was 20, turning 21. I just fell in love with someone. And I'm probably still in love with her, all these 45 years later, yeah. It still somehow is associated with that person. I mean, that never really came to anything, but it was kind of with me for years. And I mean, I had a double initiation around that time. I'd been really opened up. I'd taken loads of magic mushrooms. That had really opened me up. And then there was this falling in love. That was another opening up. Maybe they were connected because I was much more open anyway. So it's a wonderful thing if it happens to you. There's a book called Lying with the Heavenly Woman by Robert Johnson. He's a Jungian analyst. It's only a short book, and it's all just written from his own experience. It's very simple, and it's about the 6 main female archetypes the man can have in his psyche: daughter, mother, mother-in-law, yeah, wife, courtesan, what he calls Sophia, which is a sort of archetype of wisdom. I can't remember the whole list, but the feminine is very important if you're a man, and the falling in love ties in with all of this. I'm not sure exactly which archetypes he would lay them out to be. Now, Robert Johnson, as a young man, was having analysis with Emma Jung, Jung's wife, and he had this big dream. And Emma said, "You need to see my hubby about that." So he goes to see Carl and has some Carl Jung. And it was a visionary dream. And basically Jung laid out the guy's life before him. And 2 things he said was, you must never join anything, and you must never get married, amongst other things. And he held to that injunction. He never got married. And it never worked out if he tried to join anything. So he was on that path of solitude. I mean, maybe he had affairs, I don't know. But affairs can kind of stimulate that in you. But fundamentally, you are holding within that bit which would fall in love. Yeah? Instead of attributing it to someone, you are being guided by it. You are being nourished by it. So that's all I've got to say, really. I just wanted to add it on to that previous chapter of Chaos in Love, and to say that falling in love is a very important experience. If you can haul it off the other person. When you're young, that's almost impossible to do. When you're older, well, maybe it's harder to fall in love because maybe you've integrated more of that. Or when it does happen, yeah, when a woman becomes your muse, that's what happens. Women become your muse, yeah. There's something about them, certain women, that just makes your heart sing, makes you want to write poetry, compose music, make Chaos Shaman podcasts, that sort of thing. We're not so inclined to attribute it to that person. That person is probably going to have something. There's going to be something about that person that's genuine, that probably is connected to that level. But really, it's yours. So allow yourself to fall a bit in love. Let your heart sing. Live as a lover. That lover archetype. That's the thing. If we're chaos shamans, we're free. Yeah, we allow whatever's happening in the psyche to be lived. We don't let ourselves be constrained by convention. Oh, right, now you need to get married and blah de blah de blah. It's like, no, you're free. You can do what you want. You can have this within yourself. You can make it part of who you are. So own that muse. Yeah, live from that muse. That's what falling in love is really about. It's about finding the muse. I mean, when you're 20, if it happens to you, you might, if you're unlucky, the other person might reciprocate. You might end up getting married to them and spending the next 20 years. And it might be wonderful. But then after a few years, you go, what's all that about? This person's really quite ordinary. They're not all these fun. There's nothing wrong with them. But really, they're not all these things. Maybe you realise, oh, it was me after all. That's fair enough. That's how it can happen. It's a long old journey. But really, it's about the muse. It's about the daemon. It's about the other world. It's about those fairies dancing around the tree, rejoicing, singing. It's like, oh yes, he's found his heart. He's found his muse. He's on his path. It's a gift when it happens. And like gifts, we can turn them into curses. We can think it's really about that other person. And then they don't want us. And then we want to kill ourselves because we've lost our soul. That's how it seems. It's dreadful. There's this dreadful suffering because we've literalized the muse. We've tried to bring the muse down to earth. And you must never let the muse down to earth. You must let the muse come and go as it wants. And that's how I do these videos. I let them come and go as I want. I do what I feel like speaking about. I took a bit of a risk doing this one because I thought, well, it's the end of the day. Um, I'm not on top form. Yeah, I might not have all the energy I have in the morning, but I thought I'll give it a go. I'll just give it a go and see what happens. And actually, it's worked out okay. Yeah. But that's how I have to do these videos. I can't do a course of them. Right, I'll do that one, then that one, then that one. I just have to do whatever subject appears to be next. Whatever I wake up in the morning with, yeah, that's doing it for me. It's like, well, I just trust that. So it's, the muse is like the daemon, and you trust it. You trust whatever it wants you to speak from, or paint from, or play the violin from right now. So yeah, if you have that lover archetype, yeah, keep it light. I mean, there may well be a person around who does it for you. Yeah. And if you can hold that lightly and not try and own them too much, that can be a delight. Yeah. They can be a way of keeping your muse alive instead of doing it for you. Okay. I think maybe I'll leave that one there for now.